we seek to share that grief that we all feel and hope that grief instills in us the courage to stand up to all forms of bigotry wherever it rears its head, whether it be locally, nationally, or internationally. For those victims and their immediate families, these deaths are profoundly personal. For those they left behind, be it friends, family, co-workers, parents, brothers, sisters, wives, or husbands, we want them to know that the entire city of Peekskill and the surrounding area, yes, our entire nation, stands with them at their time of personal grief. We know this senseless and horrific act reaches far beyond the city of Orlando, Florida, and touches our entire nation. I stand before you and ask for this moment in time that we set aside our petty differences and acknowledge that this, the most deadly attack in the history of the United States, transcends whatever position you or others may have when it comes to immigration, gun control, LGBT rights, or simply to recognize the enormity of the impact of hatred and bigotry. There will be a place and time to debate issues that sadly began even after the bodies were identified, but not here and not tonight. Let us tonight renounce all of that sideshow and simply pray for those lost souls and our nation. Tonight, let us come together in recognition of some very simple, common principles that we all should agree upon without an argument. Number one, that our Constitution was written to give oppressed people rights, and those rights are firmly grounded in our Bill of Rights. They will never be taken from us, but we must be realistic and recognize that all rights have responsibilities. And while those responsibilities may sometimes feel like an infringement, take note that no right is unlimited and without reasonable restriction. Number two, that individuals should have the right to love whoever they want, whenever they want, and however they want, without anyone's interference. If you don't like who I love or who I marry, get over it. Number three, that everyone seeking to come to this country, whether they be Mexican, Muslim, victim of war or oppression, or refugees, are human beings before they are anything else. And unless you are a Native American Indian, all of our roots and paths to this country came from a search for religious, economic, and individual freedom. And may God help us if this country ever ceases to be the shining beacon of freedom that the rest of the world yearns to be in.
Today, we have come here to mourn, and that's important. But the more important challenge is to move from sadness to useful anger. The first and most important things that you can do is become a gun sense voter. Find out if the person that you are voting for supports common sense gun legislation and vote for them. Better yet, donate to their campaigns, work for them. Make sure we have gun sense legislators. The second most important thing you can do is talk. Wear a stupid button. Wear an unflattering t-shirt. I am in uniform today. And when someone asks you why you're wearing this, say, I'm wearing this because the problem of gun violence in this country so upsets me that I need to talk to you about it now. Number three, show up. You showed up today? That's great. Now show up again. show up at any gun violence prevention rally you hear about. We know from the history of the suffragettes, to the civil rights movement, to the movement for gay rights, that when people show up, when the numbers swell at marches and rallies, the news media takes notice, and when the news media takes notice, the government takes notice. And last and most important, call, tweet, email, Twitter your local and state legislators. This week, in response to the Pulse nightclub massacre, in response to the shooting of over 100 people by one man with one gun, this House of Representatives had, wait for it, a moment of silence. That is less than 1 second for every person that was shot. And they wonder why we're angry.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we're no less days to sing God's praise as when we first begun. Everybody all together. Amazing I see.
I want to thank the members.